Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, November 6, 2023. I'm Deputy Mayor Doug Kellum and I call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note our starting time for the minutes as 7 p.m. A warm welcome is extended to councillors, staff, and delegations who will participate in this meeting, regardless of whether being physically in attendance in the council chamber in Listowel or being connected through web technologies. We begin tonight's meeting with the playing of O Canada. Those in the chamber, as able, are invited to stand. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archived video. To those viewing this meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome to you. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the Council, you are consenting your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially appropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Thank you. At this time, I invite your decorum or the course of the coming meeting. I do have regrets tonight from Mayor Todd Kasenberg. There are no council recognitions this evening, so let's move on to item 5 of our agenda, pertaining to pecuniary interest. For the benefit of those unfamiliar with our council practices, provincial legislation requires councillors with a potential pecuniary or financial interest in any item at the council table to declare this interest and to remove her or himself from discussions and voting on the item. In accordance with recommended protocol at this time, I invite all councillors with perceived pecuniary interest, including those who have declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session and to submit documentation to this effect in writing to the clerk. Councillors are further reminded that if a potential conflict arises during the meeting, they may so declare at any time, any point in the meeting. Councillors, does anyone wish to declare any pecuniary interest? I will declare pecuniary interest on items 12.2, 12.3, regarding to Perth Meadows decisions, as my mother and father-in-law are tenants there, and consequently 17.1, the confirmatory bylaw. Let us now focus on the people's business. I invite those in the chamber to silence and put away their phones. Regarding item 6 of our agenda, I have a motion before me, the adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting that reads as follows. That the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor Norton. And I got booted out again. I had to reboot here. I'm in favor. And that is carried. One moment, please. We're now at item 7 of our agenda, the so-called consent agenda. Items are placed on our agenda because they are believed to be non-contentious, yet they may warrant council's recognition and action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councillor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. There are 14 items on our consent agenda tonight, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillors, anything to extract here or any correction to the minutes? Councillor Bassett?
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. I think that we need to extract 7.9 and 7.13 for discussion, please.
Sorry, 7.9 and?
7.13.
7.13. Okay. Councillors, anything else? See none. Councillor Blazic?
The amendment to Legislation Act 2006. And simply, I think that we should consider supporting the resolution from the Township of McKellar regarding the call for the amendment to the Legislation Act of 2006 to include digital publications as an acceptable means of public notice requirements, especially considering that there are a lot of communities where where printed publications are no longer being distributed.
Okay, thank you. And 7.13? They're the same, both of them, okay. Any other councillors like to speak on that? Okay, I believe you will make a motion to support that. Okay, moved by Councillor Blazek and seconded by Councillor Andreessen. May we have the vote? And that is carried. Thank you. Council, I do have a resolution that reads as follows, that council items 7.1 to 7.14, with the exception of 7.9 and 7.13, be received for information, and the minutes of the October 23rd, 2023 regular council meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Anstead and second by Councillor Andreessen. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. At this time, it's proposed we move on to agenda item 8. We do have 2 delegations this evening. The first is from the Atwood Lions Club regarding a pledge to support the revitalization of the North Perth Community Centre in Atwood. At this time, I'll ask Mike McCourt to come forward with his presentation. Welcome, Mike. And everyone else. You have a good support team behind you here this evening.
Thank you very much. name is Michael McCourt. I'm a member of the Atwood Lions Club, and I'm speaking on behalf of my Lions brothers and sisters about the North Perth Community Centre in Atwood. The hall was built by the Atwood Lions in 1971, according to our records, and it served as a hub and heart of the community for more than 50 years. Unfortunately, all you have to do is drive by the facility, and you can see that it's showing its age. We're all well aware of the accessibility issues facing all properties. This one's no exception. And the appeal of the facility to weddings and upscale events is also, I believe, reflected in the recent bookings. We've spoken to representatives of the municipality, and we understand this issue is on the radar of the municipality, and we know that it's on the radar of the community at large. The facility is the center of the North Perth community. It's the site of many weddings and funerals and everything in between. Get-togethers, parties, family reunions, gala events, and of course, Lions events. And the Lions held a number of brainstorming sessions, priority building sessions over the last couple of years. And the longevity and the ongoing sustainability of the center is the Atwood Lions' #1 priority and our fundraising goals. The mission of the Atwood Lions actually is this: we serve to build our community by promoting, enhancing, and improving the Lions Park property. Ensuring the Elmo Memorial Community Center continues as the hub and heart of our community. We also commit to building the pathways, walkways, and roadways that connect the community we serve. So the Atwood Lions would like to partner with the municipality to upgrade or replace this facility in Atwood for another 50 years. We understand that projects like this take time and planning, and we ask the municipality to consider partnering with the Lions to make this dream a reality when that time is upon us. So on behalf of, again, my brothers and sisters in Lionism, the Atwood Lions wish, on a maximum 1/3 basis, to pledge $1 million towards the revitalization and rebuilding plan. And I can answer any questions, but that's what we would like to do.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillors, open up to the floor for anyone that has any comments or questions for Mr. McCourt. Start off with Councillor Blazek.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. I'm guessing that by the Deputy Mayor's wow, we're all feeling a little bit overwhelmed and in awe of your generosity. We have such an appreciation for the Lions Club and the things that they do for this community. So thank you for your presentation today. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for what you have done and what you continue to do for North Perth. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blazek. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Lions. And I might be biased when I say this, but I think this is why North Perth is the best place to live. Maybe that's why I've never left either in 55 years, the same 55 years, Mike, that you've spent here. But it's the community support that we get from not just the Atwood Lions, but all service clubs and community people that make this such a great spot. And what a commitment the Atwood Lions have made to North Perth and to the revitalization of a hub, of something that revolves, our whole community revolves around that. My wedding was there. I'm not planning my funeral yet, but it may be there as well. So I hopefully not soon, but I just want to thank the Lions for the great, job of fundraising and pushing us to revitalize that facility that has been tremendously well used. Thank you.
You were blushing bright about the same time I was in that hall, so.
Yeah, a fair time ago.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Anyone else like to make further comments? Councillor Andreessen.
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor Kellum. Again, we can definitely congratulate you and your service club for your great volunteerism. We really appreciate that. I'm also really excited to hear what your thoughts would be as an organization in terms of what you'd like to see happen. And perhaps tonight's not the night, but we would definitely want to know what your vision is, right? And what you're thinking in terms of what that hub would look like. Because it's important to hear your voices as we plan for the future. So thank you.
And I speak on behalf of the Lions again. We look forward to that process and being an integral part of that as well.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Good. I believe Councillor Rothwell, you're next.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, and thanks very much, Lion Mike McCord and all the Lions for this presentation. And as discussed at this council on our capital budget, certainly North Perth is committing to needed upgrades within that facility. And I think your proposal, I think, will really work well. And as Councillor Jason says, we look forward to ongoing discussions, which we've had already with staff and your service club for the benefit of all North Perth, and specifically its location in Atwood. But it's a fantastic gesture which the service club is making to the community, and I think working cooperatively with North Perth, we can make the Elma Memorial Community Centre even better than it has been in quite some time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you very much. This is very exciting. Thank you for everyone who came out tonight, and we sure do look forward to working with you in the future and seeing what this is all going to pan out to be. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. Good news. Moving on, the second delegation is from Caroline Baker from Baker Planning Group regarding Connie Evangelo / Bray Trident Group Limited Project.
Good evening.
Yes.
I'm Don DeYoung. I am principal in Trident Group. Caroline is online, so I'll let Caroline do the speaking, but thank you for your time here, Deputy Mayor, members of council.
Okay. Good evening, Connie.
Deputy Mayor, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, perfect. We're working this evening.
Even
Wonderful.
louder.
Glad to hear it. Good evening. My name's Caroline Baker from Baker Planning Group. Appreciate your time this evening to respond to the public meeting we had just over a month ago regarding the urban boundary expansion in the settlement area of Listowel. I did want to take just a few minutes to respond to some of the questions that we heard at the public meeting, provide some additional information, and I'm sure Mr. Bice will have a presentation later in the agenda. So really, I just wanted to focus on 3 items that were raised by council and members of the community to provide that additional detail. I think one of the first questions that we heard was a privately led, which means a property owner has applied to expand an urban boundary, certainly acknowledging that the county and its member municipalities have been working on a comprehensive official plan review that will likely include some boundary expansions in Listowel. What we did want to note that originally about 98 hectares of land have been recommended in Listowel. I understand from documentation presented to council and posted on the county's website that further detailed information has increased the land area required to meet the planning horizon to in fact 238 hectares. If that is the land need requirement, this development before you this evening would represent about 9% of the land area that would be required in Listowel to meet the requirements of the provincial policy statement. Building on that, I believe there was a question about whether the ability to have infilling and intensification within the existing settlement area of Listowel had been considered in those growth numbers. And in my understanding and speaking with county planning staff and reviewing the comprehensive OP material, the original 98 hectares increasing to 238 hectares is in addition to those opportunities already identified for infilling and intensification. Certainly through this application, working with county planning staff, we've also understood the consultations have occurred with the official plan team at the county with respect to this application, and the recommendation by staff to recommend it go forward certainly for approval. The second piece I just wanted to touch upon is there was some discussion at the public meeting about the need for a listable ward official plan. So if you'll recall, this application includes 2 official plan amendments. The first to the County of Perth official plan for the urban boundary expansion. And second, there is an amendment proposed to the listable ward official plan to select appropriate land use designations such as residential, commercial, natural environment, and of course, there is a small portion of the site remaining in agriculture. In our view, it is appropriate land use planning to amend the listable ward official plan to recognize the proposed urban use. As set out in the provincial policy statement, land to be removed from prime agriculture is required when moving into a settlement area. The second piece, as part of our planning opinion of including it in the listable ward OP, is that your listable ward official plan sets the vision, goals, and objectives for that community that's shared by that community that was approved by council. And if the land is going to be contiguous and feel a part of listable, it was our view that it should be included with those shared goals in the listable ward official plan. One such example I might provide to council is the listable ward official plan has specific provisions and requirements for affordable housing. Including this proposed development in the listable ward official plan will ensure that those policies continue to apply moving forward should this official plan be approved and a subsequent draft plan of subdivision and zone change be brought back to North Perth Council. I did want to provide just some of the background and context on the rationale of why the owner applied for that amendment. Certainly, I'm here throughout the evening if there should be any other questions now or following Mr. Weiss's presentation. So I appreciate you providing the opportunity to provide a delegation, and we conclude at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Council, I'll open it up for questions or first comments from any of you. Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Deputy Mayor, and thank you for the presentation, Caroline. I believe we'll actually get into the reports later in the agenda, so my questions are going to be specific to the reports as opposed to the presentation, so I think we'll deal with it at that time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. And again, thank you. We'll be hearing more of you. Okay. Before we move on to our agenda, Lions, you're more than welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the hour or so, or you can leave if you want. It's your choice.
We do have some work to do.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you again. Okay, Council, moving on. This brings us to item agenda number 9, reports from departments and key staff. Is item number 9.1, Manager of Development and Protective Services. 9.1.1, listable ward official plan amendment 36, and believe planner John Bice will be presenting this one. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and members of council. I don't want to get too much into it as Carolyn had previously discussed a few items, but I'll kind of give everybody a quick summary because it has been about a month and a half. So to begin, we brought this application about a month and a half ago. It's for 2 official plan amendments, a County of Perth official plan amendment number 216 and a listable ward official plan amendment number 36. The subject property is at the Red Star. As you can see on the screen, it's to the west of Listable and west of Mitchell Road South. So just for a summary, quick summary of the applications, Perth County Official Plan Amendment number 216 has been submitted concurrently with the Listable Ward Official Plan Amendment number 36. The Perth County Official Plan Amendment is necessary to redesignate a portion of the site from agriculture and natural resources environment to serviced urban area and to redefine the natural resources environment designation to reflect the recommendations that were submitted in the EIS environmental impact study. The applications will also recognize the undersized retained property, which would be the lands in Stipling on those images above, with a site-specific policy within the agricultural designation to permit a minimum lot area of 4 hectares with the existing dwelling and accessory uses. The second application is listable Ward Official Plan Amendment number 36, and it's been submitted to add a portion of the site to the listable settlement boundary and designate either residential or highway commercial. Should subject applications be approved, the applicant will be required to submit a draft plan of subdivision application, as well as zoning bylaw amendments to further facilitate the proposed residential and commercial developments. Okay, so at the public meeting, Carolyn kind of got into this a bit with her delegation, but essentially we want to showcase to council why 2 official plan amendments were applied for rather than 1. Carolyn got into a bit the details. She did a pretty good job explaining we wanting to incorporate it within the listable community. It's listable servicing, so we should organize and coordinate appropriately. But however, there's also a policy direction in the PPS that outlines the parameters of settlement boundary expansions. And essentially, when you expand a settlement boundary, what's left is still designated as agricultural. So what we want to do with that listable ward official plan is then go in and designate it accordingly as either residential or highway commercial. The PPS directs that we can't go in and develop that portion if it still remains agricultural, because there's no residential development permitted on agriculturally designated properties that are in the prime agricultural areas. So that's the policy direction that outlines that. Carolyn did a great job explaining that a bit more in detail as well. So I want to get talking a bit about MDS here as well. The previous public meeting that we discussed, there was a little bit of an MDS issue. We had originally thought that the proposed settlement boundary expansion was going to be sterilized by 2 farms. We went back and took a look at those barns, realized that the MDS calculations were done so incorrectly. It wasn't exactly the MDS calculations that were incorrect, but it was where they were measured from. So essentially what has been done is those specific calculations were applied to the correct manure storage pits and horse barns located to the north. And now the MDS calculations has indicated that only 15 meters squared of the portion of the property would be negatively impacted by an MDS circle, and that's from the north barn, because you see, just north of Perth line 86, it's the circle that says 219 meters squared. And that's just want to give everybody a reference to that. So essentially what has occurred then, Perth County Roads has indicated that they will take a road widening here, 3.5 meters to be in keeping with the subject properties to the immediate east. And then they will take a corner road widening so that none of the proposed settlement boundary expansion will be negatively impacted by MDS, and instead it will be road allowance. So that mitigates any sort of MDS issues. There's no longer any sort of MDS concerns at this point. The last thing I want to quickly discuss is the Perth County Comprehensive Review, and essentially the land needs assessment that was done by Watson and Associates. And Watson and Associates has since updated their comprehensive review and their land needs assessment. It's on the Perth County website at this point. Perth County has actually adopted the comprehensive review with these numbers, on November 2nd, which was only a few days ago. But essentially what has occurred here is the previous comprehensive review and land needs assessment had indicated only 98 hectares of land needs, that is, for the listable community to the year 2048. Now it has come out that that land needs has grown to 238 hectares for the listable community. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yep. Perfect. So you can see in the red line, I outlined listable. So 238 hectares of gross urban land is needed, urban residential land. This includes intensification, which is in the column total supply, including intensification. So these numbers have taken into account the vacant land within the listable community and have indicated that 238 hectares are needed. Just to give that a little bit of geographic settings, that's essentially just over 2 Atwoods in size that needs to come to the listable community. So I wanted to give that a little bit more feedback, a little bit more discussion at this council meeting here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions as well.
Thank you, through you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor McCallum. I just wondered, in one of the previous maps, could you just clarification, is there a road allowance that will, from Highway 86, feed into the new development? That will happen, right? No, okay. If you can clarify that.
Yeah, through you, Deputy Mayor. So essentially, that corner road widening is to alleviate the MDS concerns. It's to ensure that the settlement boundary with 15 meter squares doesn't expand as the PPS forbids that. So that's essentially to remove that land because it would be inappropriate to add it to the settlement boundary.
If I may, a secondary question. If we can go back to another, yeah. Okay, see where that red arrow is at the very top?
Yes.
Mr. Bice, is that, I guess that was confusing me, and that's not access from Highway 86?
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor. Apologies, I thought you meant the specific road widening that we were talking about.
Oh.
Yes, there will be access to 86 at the red arrow to the north.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Kellum. Appreciate that, and thanks, John, for your report. I just want to pick up on one item in particular in the report. One resident raised the issue about additional lands, the listable Baptist, First Baptist Church there, and whether or not land was included in the discussion. I think I know the answer, but here's the question I have for you. Was there discussion with the applicant regarding the additional lands on the First Baptist Church property, on the south portion of their property? So if we look at the map, it's just east of the proposed blue area. It's beyond their parking area, and I just wanted to hear as to whether or not there was any discussion, and if there wasn't, if there could be, because the proposal, at least in terms of this sketch, does not incorporate any ability for them to have access on any proposed road network. Thank you.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. I believe there was not any discussions with that long, skinny parcel there. I believe that they have some issues with their location of their septic system. I believe they're still on septic at that listable Baptist Church, which may hinder future development of that site. Yeah, go ahead.
Just further on that point, my understanding is that the church itself, as well as other properties on Perth Line 86, are required to hook into our full municipal services now, so certainly within a 2-year period, I believe. So I'm just going to encourage further discussion regarding that because, again, looking at the numbers in terms of the comprehensive review, if anyone's done any quick calculations, that's 6 farms, additional land area that's required in listable alone. That's at 40 hectares apiece. So just when we talk about land area and the need to look at ensuring that underutilized lands are incorporated in developments, this would be a prime issue of discussion. And I'm not here advocating on behalf of the Baptist Church at all. I'm just encouraging a discussion with the proponents that's looking at the possibility of a significant expansion, which is required, there's no doubt, in our development. So I just want to have that encouragement to have the conversation. And lastly, I did raise the points previously and regarding the listable ward official plan amendments, and I won't go further into that discussion. But what I do want to know through through Deputy Mayor, through to you, John, is as to whether or not the proposed county official plan policies regarding development, residential, highway, commercial, if the proposal has been reviewed in light of the proposed policies, which are being reviewed and possibly considered for approval by County Council later this month, as to whether or not this development was reviewed with that lens or not.
Through your Deputy Mayor. Apologies, are you referring to the new official plan policies? Then the answer would be that they were not. Those, since they're in draft form, would be inappropriate to apply to this at this time.
Further, just on the points, I think given the fact that we've been working on the county official plan for over 5 years, and we are coming very close for consideration of the new county official plan, those proposed new policies, which are draft, as I certainly understand, I'm not suggesting that they would be the balance of which a full review would be done, but clearly it is very imminent that any new development should be looking forward into the future in terms of what we're anticipating for growth and development. And those proposed policies, as I understand, are going to be the newest, as opposed to earlier provisions which we have in the listable ward official plan regarding residential in particular. And affordability clearly is one of the critical issues, but there's numerous other policy changes that have happened in the recent past, provincial legislation, and I would just encourage the discussion to happen sooner rather than later in terms of this development and ensuring that the full proposal that we have before us is going to meet the proposed new policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. Anyone else? Councillor Duncan?
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. I guess my biggest concern with this is looking at the density of this development. We're going to take out a bunch more prime agricultural land, and I understand that the comprehensive review says we need these lots. I think if we're going to continue to justify removing prime agricultural land with the fact that there isn't any other land around listable, then we need to make sure that we're using this land to its fullest. And I just maybe am concerned that 217 singles on this property maybe isn't using the property to its fullest. And I also see that our engineer has comments that there could potentially be some servicing issues to further intensify development on this property. So I guess I'd like to get some feedback on that.
Sure. Through you, Deputy Mayor. Those specifics would be better addressed through the plan of subdivision phase. That being said, yes, the municipal engineers have indicated that there may be servicing capacity issues at this time through this this part of listable, that is, but it's due to the service running underneath, I believe, Kincaid, and it's not due to capacity issues, say at any sort of pumping stations or at the wastewater treatment facility. So those issues may be best addressed through the plan of subdivision, but it's very well taken. The fact that there currently is some servicing capacity network issues that should be addressed.
Okay. Do you have any comments on density, or are you going to refer that back to plan of subdivision?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I believe your comments are very well taken. Absolutely. The official plan amendment process just may not be the best time to talk specifically about singles or increasing the singles. That would be best suited to what we see when they apply for their plan of subdivision.
You're good? Okay. Okay. Anyone else? See none? Oh, sorry. Councillor Rothwell?
Thank you. Just further to Councillor Duncan's point, I think it's well taken, but through you, Deputy Mayor, to John, I think it's important if council is in agreement that if we are willing to support the proposed amendments, that we may want to specifically note or encourage higher densities proposal when we do get to the plan of subdivision. So at least it's a clear signal to the developer that yes, we are supportive. However, we would like to see additional densities. And if council is agreeable, I think certainly the developer would be aware from now on that when we do get to the plan of subdivision process, hopefully we'll get there, is that we hope to see additional multi-unit dwellings as opposed to the proposal number that we see before us in terms of the 212, whatever the number was, residential units. Thank you.
Okay. No more comments? Thank you for the report, John. Council, I do have a resolution in front of me. It reads as follows. That North Perth Council receives the report entitled Listowel Ward Official Plan Amendment Number 36 and Perth County Official Plan Amendment Number 216, affecting lands described as Concession 1, Part Lots 27 and 28, RP 44, R 5451, Part 1, Elma Ward, Municipality of North Perth. And that North Perth Council approves Listowel Ward Official Plan Amendment Number 36 as recommended by staff. And that North Perth Council forwards the Listowel Ward Official Plan Amendment Number 36 as recommended by staff to Perth County Council for approval. And that North Perth Council endorses Official Plan Amendment Number 216 as recommended by staff to Perth County Council. May I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Richardson, seconder. Seconded by Councillor Nordham. May we have that vote? Okay, Councillor Andreessen's in favor. And that is carried. Thanks again, John. Council, for your comments. Moving on to 9.1.2. Next we have school bus arm cameras. And Janie Pape, Manager of Development and Protective Services and Fire Chief, will be presenting. Welcome, Janie.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Kellum. Good evening, Council. On June 15th, County Council received a report for information regarding school bus arm cameras. The issue was referred to the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee. The report, County Council, and the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee acknowledge school bus blow-bys are a community safety issue and have committed to further analysis of fine revenue versus administrative and implementation costs and are considering alternative initiatives to help reduce school bus blow-bys. At its September 27th meeting, Police Services Board passed the following resolution. That the Police Services Board suggests that North Perth Council considers implementing a pilot project for school bus cameras that includes seeking legal advice about the pros and cons of the legal proceedings and investment in camper technology suitable for 10 buses. So as to avoid duplication of efforts and to encourage further collaboration and research to bring about an informed and coordinated approach to this safety issue, staff is recommending that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receive the report entitled Administrative Monetary Penalty and School Bus Arm Cameras for information and defer any pilot project specific to this initiative until further time as such collaborative research and analysis by county staff, Huron Perth Student Transportation Services, and the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee has been completed. Happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you, Janie. Council, questions or first comments for Janie? Councillor Rothwell?
Thanks very much, Deputy Mayor, and thanks, Jenny, for your report, as well as the inclusion of the reports Annette Diamond presented through to County Council and Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee. I believe when this council brought forward the resolution regarding the possibility of school bus stop arm cameras, is that it was public safety was the critical issue. You've underlined that as a critical point. What I am alarmed about, of course, is the cost. I don't think anyone realizes that the extent of these costs and the reason for the cost, because frankly, the province of Ontario refuses to admit its responsibility for carrying the cost for school bus safety. School buses, although they are the standards are at the federal level. Provincially, it's the province that ensures the all school buses meet Ontario safety standards. I've had discussion with local school bus operator John Chapman on this issue, and not to bring up historical things which were painful when they were resulted. It was the coroner's inquest as a result of the death of a student, which mandated the installation of this the arms that come out in front of the school bus. And that was done within a 2-week period on 18,000 buses in the province of Ontario. And this is directly from John Chapman. It was a mandate that was given directly through to the all school boards in Ontario to all school bus operators that they had to be installed by the end of the March break of that year. It was that fast. And that was within the province of Ontario, and there's nothing changed in terms of federal regulation and provincial regulation. I pray that we are not waiting for a provincial coroner's inquest as a result of a death of a child by a blow-by, that we are going to require the same sort of requirements for school bus stop arm cameras on school buses in Ontario. I know that the ongoing discussions and dialogues will continue with the Minister of Transportation, as well as the Minister of Education on this very important issue. But I'm in favor of having a pilot project. However, I am not in favor of spending the incredible amount of money to implement a program, which we hope we never have to use. The reality is public education hopefully is going to decrease and hopefully reduce to zero the number of school bus blow-bys that we have. So therefore, all of that money that we've put in place will be an insurance policy, and that's it. The frustration I think that I have and others have is that this is a process which has been going on for quite some time, not long before we had our resolution. People are looking for answers from government, and I think that we have to, in my view, continue our discussion and dialogue to ensure that the province of Ontario undertakes the full cost to implement school bus stop arm cameras, as well as the whole automated speed enforcement, which we have talked about specifically in our community. It is a community health and safety issue. And I believe that the province of Ontario, if we hear what they're saying, that safety, community safety is an issue, well, then it's time to step up and do that. The municipality of North Perth and even the County of Perth, the County of Huron, the Avon-Maitland District School Board, the Huron-Perth Catholic District School Board have not got the funds to undertake what's being proposed in the presentation that went to County Council. The numbers are staggering. We will not, in my view, and even when you look at the numbers, generate any money that will come close to offsetting the costs that we're going to incur for this. It is just fiscally irresponsible to suggest that we as our municipality alone, let alone all throughout Ontario, need to undertake these costs for the safety and well-being of our children that are on school buses. Having said that, I certainly agree with the proposal that we should continue or start with the pilot project, but I certainly hope that we will continue our ongoing discussion and dialogue and pressure on the province of Ontario to do the right thing and undertake the full cost of both implementation of school bus stop arm cameras, as well as the whole automated process for speeding and enforcement on provincial highways. Thank you very much.
Very well said, Councillor Rathel, and I'm sure Janie has taken all this into consideration. We'll relay the message back. Councillors, any other questions or comments? Councillor Blazik.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just further to what Alan said, I appreciate your passion and I agree with everything that you have said. I'm wondering if it's been months since our resolution, and I'm wondering if we need to be the squeaky wheel, if we need to put another resolution out there, if we need to keep on our MPP, if we need to write Doug Ford again. I would encourage you to take the lead on that, of course, Alan. But this feels to me like something that we just can't stop talking about. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
Thank you, Councillor Blazik. Anyone else? I'm seeing none. Thank you very much for your report. Council, I do have a resolution that reads as follows. That the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives the report entitled Administrative Monetary Penalty and School Bus Arm Cameras for Information, and defer any pilot project specific to this initiative until such time as a collaborative research and analysis by county staff, Huron Perth Student Transportation Services, and the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee has been completed. Moved by Councillor Richardson, second by Councillor Nordham. May we have that vote? And that is carried. Thank you again for your report. And finally, we have the building activity report, and I believe our CBO, Sally McMillan, will be doing the presentation. Welcome, Sally.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Callum and members of council. It's nice to see you again. Okay, tonight I wanted to bring you a summary of the department's activities, and I'd like to make it a regular occurrence. Something that I talked about last time I came to see you, and so this is sort of the first installment of our regular visits. What I wanted to start with was a breakdown of how a building permit process unfolds, and there's basically 4 stages. So there's the application, then plans examination, then permit, and then inspections. And so back at stage 2, the plans examination, that's when the designs put forth by the applicant are checked against the Building Code Act and the building code itself. And then in the final stage, the inspection, that's when the checks and balances occur to make sure that the building is actually being constructed as per those approved plans. So these 4 basic stages occur on every permit, whether it's a renovation or a septic system or a house or an apartment building or renovations to the hospital, or like every type of building permit goes through the same process. And in North Perth right now, it's very much a team effort between a combination of staff and contracted services through a registered firm, and that firm is called RSM. So when you are doing a plans examination, you require certain qualifications based on the type of building and the desired occupancy that the applicant has put forward in order to be able to review those plans. Similarly, on an inspection, you need to have those qualifications, again, that match the building type and the type of occupancy that's being desired. So that's why right now we're using this combination approach here in North Perth. So over the past couple of months, we have been transitioning a little more out of quite as much or as intensive services being offered to the community through our consulted RSM, and bringing some more of those plans examinations and inspections in-house and being done by staff. So RSM has a very specialized labor force, and they are currently helping us with unique buildings and large buildings in particular. And large buildings is a specific term in the building code. And then staff are helping, or not helping, staff are conducting the examinations and the inspections on many of our sort of common residential structures here in North Perth, as well as various types of small buildings, septic systems, and smaller structures. And some specific plumbing installations as well. So we've really been going through this period of revitalization following staff turnover in 2022 and earlier this year in 2023. And our metrics, when I wrote the report back on October 31st, the highlights are that at that point we were sitting at about 314 permits this year, permit applications. Let me just grab the number of issues. I think is in the mid 250 range for, 259 permits had been issued at that time. And then we were up to about 1,751 inspections for the year to date. So those are the highlights of the metrics of the sort of qualitative metrics or quantitative metrics rather of the department as of that date. We also have a pretty clear focus on 4 specific things right now, in addition to our day-to-day activities on these 4 pieces of the process, and that's staff development. So we really want to continue towards that place of self-sufficiency where RSM they provide a very specialized service in helping municipalities in transition, and it's not meant to be a forever solution. So we're really focused on staff development to get to that place where we're doing those large buildings and things ourselves. And also we are working hard to keep up with regular reporting functions. We're also conducting and right in the middle of a fees review. So council will receive more information about that evaluation of costs and how fees are being proposed potentially in the new year or early in the new year. And that hasn't been done for some time, several years. So it's time to dig into that fees review and refresh those fees. And the other thing that we have ongoing is planning a forum for local builders. So we want to actually kind of copy and repeat some things that other municipalities are doing. So I'm going to be attending some of these that occur in neighboring municipalities over the next few months. And those building officials have talked to me about how they unfold these on an annual basis. And it's a great way to connect with the local building community, hear each other and your experiences over the past year, and then spend some time together reviewing things for the upcoming year, any changes in legislation or changes in process, or and we would like to offer some opportunities for folks to hear maybe from some speakers on some items that matter on a regular day-to-day basis to the building community here. So we are trying to plan that forum for in the new year, and certainly want to pull that together before the season changes on us again in the spring. And the building folks out there are very busy, so we want to offer that before that. So generally speaking, we continue on this path towards a commitment between to providing a real strong balance between both compliance with the Building Code and the Building Code Act, and also processes that are continually being improved and streamlined for the applicants and the developers in our community. And that continuous improvement requires some dedication and some time, and so we're really looking forward to next steps as we continue on this journey. And any questions, I'm happy to take.
Thank you, Sally. Council, questions or first comments for Sally? Seeing none, thank you for your presentation, knowing that your department is very busy, and we appreciate everything that you do for us.
It's our pleasure. Thanks.
Okay. Have a good evening. Okay, we now turn to item 9.2, a report from our Manager of Environmental Services, and believe Mark Hackett will come forward to do the introductions for this. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce Hannah Can. Hannah was previously the Executive Coordinator for West Perth up until last week, and then midweek she started a new position with the county, and that position is the Resiliency and Stewardship Coordinator. It will be coordinating and managing the new stewardship program and other climate change initiatives across Perth County. Earlier this evening, Hannah made the same presentation on electrical vehicle charging infrastructure to West Perth Council, and she is here remotely tonight to give that same presentation to North Perth Council. So if Hannah is ready, she can go ahead. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Hello, Hannah.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Mark, and thank you for having me tonight, Your Worship and Council. My name is Hannah Can. I'm the new Resiliency and Stewardship Coordinator for Perth County, but I started working on this project when I was with West Perth, so I have the local governments in mind here with this project. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So why are we talking about EV chargers? So the carbon emissions in Perth County vary on the different types, but the most heavy carbon emitter is actually our on-road transportation sector at 37%. So any way that we can cut back on these emissions through passenger vehicles and other types of on-road transportation are a benefit to getting this emission reduced. Next slide. Another reason for supporting EV infrastructure is that there are federal government regulations coming down the pipe in the next couple of years that are going to be encouraging the purchasers of vehicles to switch to zero emission vehicles like plug-in hybrid electric vehicles or fully straight EV. So 20% sold in Canada must be ZEV by 2026, and 60% of vehicles sold in Canada by 2030 have to be ZEV. Also, the medium and heavy duty vehicles are coming fast and furious, and 35% sold in Canada by 2030 must be ZEV. So although you might not see very many of them in your communities right now, there will be a surge in the next couple of years for sure. Next slide. So to give you an overview, North Perth has been partnering with a network of counties from southwestern Ontario, including Bruce, Grey, Wellington, Huron, and Perth, on a program called Rural Recharge, and this is for level 3 chargers. We've been working on this program since I think 2021, 2022, and we have a partner who is the IV Charging Network, who's installed all the level 3 chargers on the 400 series highway. And North Perth will be getting a level 3 charger through that partnership program. But through this program, we also identified a gap in charging infrastructure in geographic Perth County with the need for level 3 fast chargers and level 2 chargers. So because we identified this need, we partnered with Community Energy Association to tender a third party for charging infrastructure because they had ZVIP grant funding, which was basically a 50% off coupon for level 2s, which was too good to pass up. So that's why we created the Perth County Electric Pathway. Next slide. So I've been throwing around a lot of terminology here. So for those who don't know, level 1 charger is a trickle charge. You can plug it into any outlet on the wall. It takes 12 to 24 hours to charge. A level 2 charger is most commonly at home charging or for longer stops on the go. I know that you have one in the Steve Kerr parking lot right now at the school board center. These take 4 to 10 hours to charge your vehicle at, depending on your vehicle. And then the level 3s are the DC fast charge. So those are great for tanking up on the go and for quick stops. You can stop and grab a coffee while your car charges and have a bathroom break. More civilized way to travel. It takes much less time. And this image here is of an IV level 3 charging station, which is what our partnership in the Rural Recharge program would get us. Next slide. So the 2022 network analysis shows on the left-hand side of the screen the DC fast charge stations in our region. As you can see, there's a gap there in the Perth County area. And then again, emulated in the right-hand map, there's also a gap in level 2 station infrastructure. So there might be a lot of level 2s on private land or in people's garages, but as far as publicly available level 2 charging stations, they're few and far between in Perth County. Next slide. So the question often comes up, why should we invest in level 2s when we have level 3s? It's a very valid question. So level 2s, like I said, are great for longer visits, like employees at work or spending an afternoon downtown, or for garage orphans, like people who live in apartment buildings that live close to a municipal lot, they don't have access to a charger at home. Whereas level 3 chargers are great for travelers or people who are just passing through your community and they just need that coffee and washroom break or to let their dog out for a run when they're on a long trip. The biggest difference is that level 2 chargers are cheaper for municipalities to own and operate. To buy them outright, they're usually between $5,000 and $8,000 each, whereas level 3 chargers are usually $100,000 to $150,000 each. So Earth Power Corps just installed the level 3 in Goderich this year, and they said it was about $125,000 to set up that infrastructure. So that's typically out of the budget scope for many lower tier municipalities, and that's why people look towards investing in level 2s first, because it's kind of that entry level step. So like any service, a diversity of chargers is very important, and picking the right charger for the right place. So having your level 3s downtown where people can just, plug in, run in, do their shopping, or at the grocery store, or even at arenas, it's good to have level 3s and level 2s, depending on how long your tournament is, or if you're there for a swimming competition or something. Next slide. So in June 2023, I found out that there was some money available for 18 charging ports through our partners with this rural recharge program. And so I asked all the lower tier municipalities what their wish list for level 2 sites would be. This identified 38 ports across 16 sites in geographic Perth County that included St. Mary's and Stratford. So we're doing a phased installation because there's funding available for 18 sites. Some of the sites that were on the wish list were not ready to go. That means that they didn't have conduit in the ground and they didn't have panel space. Other sites, like in West Perth, they had pre-planned when they built their municipal office to put conduit in the ground and to have panel space ready. So the ones that were ready to go, including the ones in North Perth, were put into phase 1, which would be an install before March 2024. Next slide. Thank you. So the RFP partner we are just signing with this week to provide these chargers. So the municipalities would be the owner and operator of the charger. So they would purchase the charger and receive a revenue check monthly for the usage, similar to a vending machine. The cost of the turnkey installation varies per site, depending again on where the chargers are located, between $7,500 and $7,900 a port. North Perth has planned for 4 ports at the Steve Kerr Arena. Operating the device, it's up to each lower tier how much they charge the customer per use. Typically, they charge per hour of use, and Huron County just installed 22 of these chargers and they charge $5 an hour. So an average ROI on this would be between $370 and $423 per hour of use, and we're estimating a payback on capital investment between 12 and 18 months. So you can also use these chargers towards carbon credits that can be sold and used in your community for future green initiatives, which is kind of an added benefit as we go into this new carbon credit economy. Next slide. So like an electric car, this project has kind of been fast and furious to be able to spend this 50% off coupon before March 2024. It's ZVIP funding, which I'm sure you've heard that term before, but the expiry date is these chargers have to be in before March. So it started in May. We're on that, just finalizing the stuff with the RFP partner and site readiness, getting ready for installation and promotion. And we can promote this project on a countywide basis because, like any good network, it's good to have partners in the area where people can hop to and from chargers as they navigate through Perth County. Next slide. So of course, you guys have probably heard that there's more funding available through the MTO just released a program called Charge On, which is, I'm looking forward to it for applying for level 3 chargers. And you can apply to that funding on a site-by-site basis. So say if North Perth wanted a level 3 and West Perth wanted a level 3, I would have to do 2 separate funding applications to get those chargers, but it's kind of nice because then you don't have to wait for anyone else. And ZVIP, the Zero Emissions Vehicle Infrastructure Program, is still rolling out grants on a yearly basis. So there's still lots of opportunity for funding, but when you have funding dropped in your lap like we have, it's great to take advantage of it. So next slide. And with that, I open it up to your worship and council for any questions.
Thank you, Hannah, for your presentation. Council, any questions or first comments for Hannah? Councillor Andreessen?
Yes, thank you through you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Hannah, for your presentation. It's very important that we continue to upgrade our municipality with additional stations for sure. I just had a comment, I guess, more around level 2 versus level 3 and the location of those specific types of chargers. And one of my concerns is that I would like to see the faster types, which is level 3 chargers, in areas where we want traffic to be. They're typically moving, not staying as long. So, for instance, in the larger retail areas where there's grocery stores, a typical shopping trip in a grocery store could be 30 minutes to an hour, right? So you're spending more time in those areas, and you don't necessarily need to have, say, a level 3 there, where when you're going to some of the other areas downtown, having a car sitting in a parking spot for over an hour ties up that parking spot for a long, long time downtown. So, where we want to be able to have parking for residents or users of our businesses on a rotating basis. Do you know what I mean? So I wondered if there was, what your thoughts on that piece is.
Yes, thank you for the question. So you're totally right. You have to choose the right charger for the right place. So right on your main street, maybe a level 2 isn't the best option. But if you had a municipal lot on the street behind Main Street, where there's a longer soak time where a car can stop and sit there for 3 or 4 hours and plug in and then not take up like a priority spot on the main drag, then that is a great opportunity to take. The other thing is, so I have 2 little kids, and I also own an electric vehicle. So if I were to go down to Masonville Mall for, a little shopping trip with a little baby and like a 3-year-old, and I pull into the level 3 charging spot, I plug my car in, I get everyone in the stroller, I finally get everyone into the mall, and you're in the bowels of the mall, and then your app dings, oh, my car's done charging. Well, then I have to get my kid and I have to take them all the way out and I have to put them in the car. I got to move the car, which is a huge annoyance because when your car's sitting there not charging, you're still, they charge you a penalty for staying in the spot when when your car's done charging, to try and encourage people to get out so another person can use it. So it's almost an impediment to have level 3s in certain areas where people are going to be, having lunch for an hour or longer, because then they'll be sitting there taking up the level 3 spot. So they would be maybe more appropriately using a level 2. So it's really been interesting having an EV for a year and seeing these pros and cons. And if you're not a user of an EV, it's like, well, obviously I want to charge faster. I don't want to have to stop and wait for like an hour, but there's definitely instances where that's to the user's benefit. So the right charger in the right place and the planning of those things is super important. So in the case of North Perth, where your level 2s are planned to go at the Steve Kerr Memorial Arena, if I'm there to watch my kid's hockey game, I'm in it for at least an hour. And I don't want to have to leave and miss a goal because I had to go out and move my car, right? So level 2s are very appropriate in that location, and I recommend that.
Yes, thank you for your consideration, and sounds like you're putting a lot of thought into it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Andreessen. Anyone else? Councillor Rothwell?
Thanks very much, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Hannah, for your presentation. I just want to focus on, I think it's page 8 of your presentation, slide 8, I think it is, local municipalities and towns. Yeah. So when we look at the wish list, and I may have heard wrong here, but I recall back last summer we had talked about the possibility in North Perth of having charger locations within, certainly within Listowel, but also within Atwood at the community center, as I recall, as well as in Moncton at the community center, library, and daycare there. Are they still on the list of the 38 ports as well as what you proposed in terms of, I think, the 4 level 3 chargers at the Steve Kerr?
I don't know if Mark would be able to speak better to that, but it's my understanding that North Perth had 4 or 5 sites proposed of interest that they could put chargers.
Yes, I could answer that, Alan. Yeah, you're exactly right. We had looked at 2 other sites. One is the EMCC and the Alma Logan. The Alma Logan being probably the next one that we would look at doing. It would tie in well with the G2G trail there. I think we get a lot of usage there. So that would be more for what we would look at in the second phase. We were also looking at the EMCC, and but I'm not sure with tonight's proposal if it would make sense to put money into putting the chargers there. I think if there was going to be renovations done at some point, it might be a really good time to put that infrastructure in at that time. Probably a lot more efficient use of our dollars. Mm-hmm. So those are the main ones. I think there's 10 total that we had planned for this project.
Supplementary?
Thank you very much for the both of the answers there. The last point I want to make is that my understanding is that when you look at the next or that same slide, when we take a look at the return on investment for operating these devices with a capital payback of 12 to 18 months, is the intent of the program on behalf of the municipalities then that we would take revenues then and take those revenues and put them into additional chargers within our municipality? Is that the intent? Because certainly a 12 to 18 month payback on capital is incredibly good. And it would certainly make sense to take that as seed money for additional benefits. Is that the proposal in the program or not?
I could try to answer that. I think that would be the plan, is to start a reserve because we don't really have a climate change initiative reserve funding yet for some of these projects. So that would be one way that we'd be able to have a revenue stream into it. And then hopefully in the future we'd be able to purchase more through that revenue generation. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Oh, we have one, Mark. Councilor.
Thanks to you, Deputy Mayor. Just curious, is there a fair bit of maintenance on these chargers, or not too much?
I'm not sure exactly on the maintenance. Hannah might be able to provide a bit more information on that. Typically, there's a year warranty, I believe. I know we've got a level 2 charger here and at the building, and we also have one at the Inkerman Street parking lot, and I don't recall that we've actually ever had to do any maintenance on it as of yet, and they've been there, both of those have been there for quite some time.
Hannah, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, thank you. So with the level 2 chargers, there's very little maintenance, if any, required. In speaking with Earth Power Corps about their experience, because they have a network of chargers, the biggest problem that they've seen with having to maintain their chargers is to deal with vandalism, so spray painting, that sort of thing. But there's very little, if any, maintenance required. And if there is, then we would contact the people who installed them, which right now we're looking at a local company, and they would just come out and maintenance them. But otherwise, it's basically like owning a dryer. You know, it has like probably a 10, maximum 15-year life span, and the technology might change drastically by then as well. So they're very easy for owning and operating. Level 3s, on the other hand, we don't recommend lower tiers own those because they're just a far greater expense and challenge to maintain. So I think we're safe with the level 2.
Okay. I'm also just curious on the length of time to charge on level 2s. So that first 10 hours, is that for a regular EV, or is that, say, a pickup truck or so?
So I can answer that again. If you plug in your car when it's like 20% charged and you charge up to 80 or 90%, it might take max 6 or 7 hours. if you're running at full steam, which is 7.2 kilowatts per hour, which it's obviously the most ideal to plug your car in overnight, just like you do with your cell phone. You know, you're going to go down to bed, you plug your cell phone in, you go to sleep, you wake up, you just charge your phone off peak, you get up for the day and you go with your phone. But it's when you're out and about and you're kind of close to your, oh, I don't know if I could probably make it home, but why risk it? I'll just plug my car in for the afternoon and, you know, be safe. And you're willing to pay the $4 or $5 an hour to charge. So, I mean, I sent Mark a little spreadsheet of some numbers today with how much it costs to charge my car at home overnight. It's about $3.70 on the low end, versus if I'm charging in public, which is a bit more, but if you need the charge, you're willing to pay it. So it's still much, much cheaper than owning a combustion engine.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, thank you for your comments, Mark. Thank you, Hannah, for your presentation this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Council, I have a resolution in front of me that reads as follows. The Perth County Electric Pathway Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure Presentation be received for information. Moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor Andreessen. May we have that vote? Councillor Andreessen is in favor. And that is carried. Moving on, for item 10, councillors, are there any reports you would like to ask of staff or committees? Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, Deputy Mayor. As we're all aware, Listowel will be celebrating our 150th anniversary in 2025. I would like to request the report supporting the creation or the launching of a citizen-based working group that could investigate and spearhead the Listowel 150 in 2025. Possibly not for this meeting, but perhaps there is an appetite to provide a little bit of seed funding in our budget for this year, or I'd be more than happy to take the advisement from staff to come back with the possible financial supports required. And I can wait for that in the report, but I'd like to request that report to come forward.
Thank you, Councillor Richardson. Clerk Carter, we have that?
Let me know if we need to amend it at all. So that staff be directed to prepare a report regarding the creation of a citizen-based working group for the 150th anniversary of Listowel. Okay.
You good with that? Okay, thank you very much. Any other reports from council? Seeing none, we'll now move on to bylaws, as I believe there is no, Councillor Clerk Carter?
You'll just need a mover and seconder and a vote on that.
You would like a resolution for that? Okay, so obviously moved by Councillor Richardson and second by Councillor Rothwell. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Now we'll move on to bylaws, as I believe there is no correspondence this evening that I'm aware of. At this point, we'll turn to consideration of bylaws that have been recommended to us for action. Tonight we'll have for our consideration a total of 3 bylaws. The enabling resolution outlines their number and purpose. Does any councillor wish to extract one or more of them for a fulsome consideration? I will pull 12.1 to vote on now. As I said previous, I need to declare for items 12.2 and 12.3. So the motion for 12.1 reads as follows. That the following bylaw is hereby passed. 131-2023 being a bylaw to amend the official plan for the municipality of North Perth, Listowel Ward. Moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor Enstedt. May we have that vote? And that is carried. Thank you. I will now ask Councillor Duncan to assume the chair.
So we have bylaws 133, 2023, the fees and licenses bylaw, and 134, 2023, sale of land bylaw. Can I get a mover to move those two bylaws? Councillor Hedseth, seconded by Councillor Blazek. Have that vote. And it looks like that's carried. Thank you. Turn the chair back over to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Duncan. Thanks. Okay. We'll get them after, okay? That's fine. Okay, Council, this time we're now at item 13 on our agenda. Do any councillors wish to give notice of motion this evening other than what Councillor Blazek asked last week? Seeing none, Council, I believe we had an email sent by CEO Snell about consideration of deferring this notice of motion until the November 13th meeting, as I believe Mayor Todd would like to weigh in on it, and if there were any questions, CEO Snell and Jessica would be here to answer them. So with your blessing, I do have a resolution that reads as follows. That the Council of the Municipality of North Perth defers a decision on the notice of motion provided by Councillor Blazek at the October 23rd, 2023 regular council meeting regarding step 16 of the Housing Action Plan until the November 13th, 2023 regular council meeting. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Richardson and second by Councillor Nordham. And that is carried. For item 14, are there any announcements that would be the benefit to our community or that reflect well in North Perth at this time? Those connected remotely may request the opportunity to speak through the text chat window, while those in chamber may raise their hands to be placed on the speakers list. Any announcements? Seeing none. Agenda item number 15, I believe we do not have any matters to consider in closed session tonight. So item number 16, we will not have any report coming out. So Council was mandated Good Practice Acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business of its meeting through what is called the confirmatory bylaw. Again, I'll ask Councillor Duncan to take the chair as I previously declared pecuniary interest.
All right, we have bylaw 135, 2023 being a bylaw to confirm generally previous actions. The Council of the Municipality of North Perth is hereby passed. Moved by Councillor Blazek, second by Councillor Andreessen. Have that vote. That's carried. Thank you. Turn the chair back over to the Deputy Mayor.
Thanks again, Councillor Duncan. Moving on to number 18. Councillors, we've completed deliberation and taken action on the business that has come before us tonight. It is thus appropriate for us to consider adjournment. I have a motion to effect as follows. And that is that the council meeting adjourns at 8:30 p.m. to meet again for general council business on Monday, November 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Moved by Councillor Blazek, second by Councillor Anstead. And that is carried. Council, our next regular council meeting is Monday, November 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Until that time, this council is adjourned.